Welcome back to Magoo's Reviews. All right, y'all, we are here. J. Cole's The Fall Off. This is my official review. This is Magoo's Reviews. All right, y'all, but before we get to the review, again, we're very close to, well, no, we're not very close, but we're on the road to 10,000 subscribers because we just passed 1,000. So I appreciate all my new subscribers, man. Hey, we're going to get to that road, man. After that, we're going to hit 100,000. We're going to be in a million. We're going to make these dreams come true. It's definitely going to happen, y'all. So J. Cole's The Fall Off. J. Cole's most anticipated album, from his catalog because he has been talking about it for years. So now we're finally here at this moment. We're finally here at The Fall Off, and this is it. Now, I did a video yesterday. I dropped it. Go check it out. I said The Fall Off is J. Cole's most important album, and I said it needs to be his best album for a couple of reasons. Definitely go check it out. But one of my main reasons is because the anticipation for this album is so big. This has to be his best project because, this was years in the making. So now we're finally here. How will it do? We're definitely going to get into it. But as far as my review, we're going to go through all the tracks and everything like that. There's a couple of notes that I put in here, man. But as far as The Fall Off overall, I'll let y'all know. Just stick through the video, man. So 29 intro had a country, a country sample too. You hear some people in the background talking all that. Next thing you know, it starts to get a little hot. Things start to get a little heated. Then you hear the gunshots go off and it flows into 22-6, which I thought was really cool. I like that song. I thought it was a good song. Like I said, I thought the beat was tough. J. Cole was definitely rapping in there. All the songs J. Cole was rapping. But yeah, that one I liked a lot. Safety, that was after Safety. I thought that was a pretty cool beat. I think I said that kind of gave me like a 94, 95, kind of, hip hop feel to it. J. Cole talking about his upgrowth and, his upbringing and everything like that, which on the album a lot, he does talk a lot about that, his upbringing and everything. Run a Train featuring Future. Now, when I first heard this track, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I thought that was J. Cole yelling in the beginning. I was like, is that Cole yelling? Sound like Future? But then when I went on Genius, because, I looked up all the lyrics and stuff as I was listening to the music, I'm like, nah, man, that's Future. So Future was on here on the album. And like I said, I thought it was cool. Like I said, it was kind of a little jarring at first, and I had to get a little used to it. But when I found out it was Future, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, it kind of does, fit the mood of the song. So I like that one. Poor Thing, I thought Poor Thing was cool. I like the Boosie Badass sample in there. I thought that was fine. Legacy, I thought Legacy was a cool track. So far, so good for me. I'm like, all right, yeah. As far as the album, I thought it was cool. Now, here's where we kind of hit a bump in the road. Not a whole roadblock, but a little bump. Bounce Road Blues featuring Future and Thames. I ain't gonna front with y'all. And I love Alchemist. That one really didn't. I don't know, man. It didn't really hit for me like that. Pause. And I think Future's part kind of had like, I don't know if he was doing like the little Usher because I think Usher had that line too, like the way he was saying his verse on there. So but overall, man, of course, Alchemist is a legend. But like that track, it was a fine track, but it didn't like really stand out to me like that. Who the F Is You? Now, that's the one that stood out to me. That's probably my favorite track on this whole album. That track was tough, man. Like the beat was tough. He was rapping. Like I said, yeah. Was it yeah, like I said, like the beat flipping and all that. So yeah, that was pretty cool. My bad, I was getting it confused with another track. Drums and bass. Like I said, I thought the beat was fine. It was all right. And that's one of the cons of this album is the production does sound similar in a lot of ways. And that's something that I know other people even talked about, like DJ Envy talked about on the Breakfast Club, that he hopes the production doesn't sound very similar. And in some ways it sounds similar. And I'll break it down towards the end of it. But yeah, drums and bass. Let It Out, the Let Out. I didn't care for that one at all. that track, I ain't gonna go too deep into that. That's one track I did not care for at all in this. And I think I said Cole's voice blends way too much in with the beat for me. Where it was so like, you know what I mean? Like for the Let It Out, I did not care for that. Bombs in the Ville, Hit the Gas. I like the beat flip on that, for Hit the Gas. But at first it was kind of like, oh, okay. But then when it flipped, I was like, all right, bet. Yeah, that's fine. Lonely at the Top now. But this one, Cole's rapping about his legends, how he feels uninspired and the younger generation and stuff like that. But I will say this, I expected his delivery to be a little more aggressive on that one because of the title alone, Lonely at the Top. I expected him to be a little more aggressive on that one. You know what I'm saying? 39 intro. Now that one, I was like, Cole was singing more, and I said the guitar was nice. The mood felt very reminiscent of the last couple songs, so it wasn't standing out to me until that beat switch. And that's one thing I could have, and I said in 39 intro, I wish that energy he finished with the song, he would have started with the song and continued through the whole track. That's one thing I do say about 39 intro. I wish he would have had that same energy in that last half of the track through the whole, through that whole song. The Fall Off is inevitable. We already did a review on that one. I like that one. That is one of my favorite songs on the album where he's talking about his life backwards. He did the music video for that one. The Villas, I thought that was fine. I said, I think that album, and this was another con for me, I wish this album would have had a little more features. I ain't gonna lie to you. I said a feature I would have loved on here is to hear CeeLo. I think CeeLo would have been very good on The Villas as far as his harmonizing and his humming, you know what I'm saying, his singing. I think CeeLo would have been a perfect fit on that song and just having his own verse, because they did the whole me and you, your mama, and your kid. Yeah, the Outkast Elevators. You know, Outkast is my favorite musicians of all time. And at first I was like, is that Erykah Badu doing that? You know what I mean? But I thought The Village, CeeLo Green would have been perfect for The Village. You know what I mean? Old Dog feature Peter Pablo. That's one of my favorite songs on this album as well. Who the F is You and the Old Dog feature Peter Pablo is a really good songs. That was one of my favorites as well. Life Sentence, I thought that was fine. I said it gave me an early 2000s vibe. I could have seen 3LW pop up. You know what I mean? Because it kind of gave me that feel. And even, you know, how Cole was delivering, I think it was the hook on there. It kind of had sound like DMX just a little bit, you know what I mean? Not as aggressive as X, but I heard a little bit of DMX in there. What else? Lonely You featuring Burna Boy. It was like another cool love song. Like I said, it was fine. Like I said, it was okay, honestly. Man Up Above, you know, that was with the Marvin Sapp, you know, never would have made it. I didn't like how he flipped Marvin Sapp's, you know, voice on there. I think I would just like how to have originally played Marvin Sapp's vocals on there. I mean, for the original song for this one. So Man Above was fine. Love Her Again. I did like that because that's kind of rendition of Common's. I used to love it when Common is talking about his love for hip hop. So J. Cole's talking about his, but in the present time, you know, the millennial time, whereas I went to the tunnel and just found out she moved to Atlanta. So that was really cool how you broke it down on hip hop. So I did like that one. Now here's a track that people are talking about. What If? Now, What If is a track of J. Cole is rapping from Biggie's perspective in the first verse. In the second verse, he's rapping from Tupac's perspective, right? And in Biggie's verse, it's kind of like, you know, what if they would have made amends, right? What if, you know, they would have got a phone call, you know, pieced it up, apologized, they both would have still been here, right? And I guess people were saying, yo, he's likening that to the battle, you know what I'm saying? Like with him and Kendrick, it would have went that way. And, you know, and that's one thing J. Cole did say. He was like, you know, they want to see blood. They want to see blood. And that was one of the reasons why he dropped out of the battle, right? So people are saying that what if it's his thing of like, if Biggie and Tupac didn't go that way, they still would have been here if they would apologize, right? But shout out to Jalopy Bungus. I like his channel. He made a really good point on that, is that Tupac and Biggie's beef was a lot more layered than that. You know, it was a whole lot more layered than that whole. There was a lot of things going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. It was really layered. Now, were they friends? Yes, they were friends. Tupac and Biggie were friends, but it was a lot more layered than them just getting on the phone call and piecing it up. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I said, the concept was cool. I like the track, but it's a lot to that track, a whole lot to that track. I might do a separate video on that track as well, because even listening to it again, I was like, there's a lot here, man. There's a whole lot, but he was kind of rapping like Big and Pac as well, right? Quick Stop. I thought that was fine. Like I said, I thought it was fine about, you know, being humble, but like I said, the responsibility of being a celebrity, you know, you could definitely hear the aggression in his voice towards the end of that track. And The Whole World Is Ville, the Isley Brothers sample. I said the beginning of it's cool. It's like, it's not a bad track, but it really didn't stand out to me like that. And Ocean's Way is a cool song with a guitar. I was like, it was a fine outro. So, all right, y'all. We're 8 minutes in. If you're still here, I really do appreciate it. Man, my honest opinion of this, man, after listening to it a couple times, I'm at a 7.5. I'm at a 7.5 out of 10. That's below the Birthday Blizzard 26, which I gave an 8 out of 10, because I like J. Cole's more, you know, aggression in that and everything. Like, I like the way how he was rapping over the beats. And one thing I can say about this, and this is one of my cons, after, you know, talking, hey, if this is your last project, go all out, since they said it was a double disc, but now listening to it and hearing it with both a double disc, yeah, there was some songs in here he definitely could have took out. There was some songs in here he could have took out, in my personal opinion. It didn't need to be a double disc, but if I had to pick which one I like more, I like this 2 more than I like this 1. But I mean, like I said, that's just my personal opinion. So after listening to it 2 times, I'm like, yeah, maybe it didn't need to be a double disc. Maybe take some tracks out, make it a little more tighter, pause. And, you know, we're saying we'll just go from there. But other than that, man, like I said, the production, it was very similar in a lot of ways. There was one song I heard, which one I wrote? I think I wrote down like, yo, I could have sworn he wrote up this beat before. I'm like, it sounds really similar, you know, and like the production since 2014, Forest Hills Drives, from all, you know, For All Your Eyes Only. Wait, is that one it? Yeah, Your Eyes Only, whatever. Then the off season to this, a lot of times the production does sound a lot similar, and that's one thing I would have said. I wish you would have had more producers in there, or somebody just in there like, hey man, try this, just try that. You know what I'm saying? Because the production does sound a lot similar in a lot of ways. Features. I wish we had more features on here. It doesn't need to be Jid. Like, where was Jid at, man? If this is your last album, where was Jid at? Where was Boss at? I would have loved to hear more Dreamville artists on here, because especially Jid, I'm like, man, if you're going out, man, get your boy Jid on here. You know what I'm saying? It was cool to hear Future. Like I said, I would have loved to hear CeeLo on like The Village. You know what I'm saying? There was definitely more. I think it needed more features. So features, production, and those are the main two. Those are the main two for me. So like I said, for me, man, 7.5 out of 10. And I think it didn't need to be a double disc after listening to it. That's just my personal opinion. So yeah, y'all, again, like I said, 7.5 out of 10. I hope this isn't his last album, because I don't want this to be the album you go out on. And I think that's another thing too, all this anticipation for the fall off, and hey, the fall off is coming, it's coming. When you do stuff like that, especially when you say it's your last album, people's expectations up to here. So a lot of people who came in with lowered expectations, yeah, they may enjoy the album a little bit more. For people who are up here, maybe they did like it, maybe they didn't. But I know there are people who are mixed on this so far. I'm not saying it's everybody, but there are narratives out there of like, nah, man, you know what I mean? Like, and I hope that Cole doesn't retire, just for the sole fact of I'm gonna hear him make more music. I want to hear him make way more music than this. Like, keep going, man. But if this is what he's going out on, I mean, I'll be honest, I think 2014 Forest Hill Drive is a better album. I still think that's a better album, man, because I said this needs to be his best because of the anticipation behind it. But if I'm just being honest, man, I got 2014 Forest Hill Drives, and then I'll, kind of discuss what after that, you know what I mean? But overall, it's not a bad album. It's not a bad album. Again, like I said, 7.5 out of 10 for me, but yeah, man, we're going to see what happens next, man. Again, like I said, I hope he doesn't retire, but if this is it, hey. Anyway, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're almost close to 12 minutes on this video. Hope everybody has a blessed day, and I'll see y'all soon. Have a good one.